хорошо.
Так, это понял. А это что за кнопка? Опа! Здрасте! Всем привет, друзья! Меня зовут Селиван, с вами канал Sylvan Game. Сегодня записываем с камерой. Купил себе вебку, прикиньте. Вот. Записываем не абы что, а игрушку, которая в свое время была очень такой странненькой, интересненькой. Это игра Stanley Parable. Если по-русски, если по-английски Stanley Parable. Вот. Когда-то я в нее играл, в ней было очень много всяких разных странных вещей и интересных мыслей. Вышла в 22 году версия расширенная, где чего-то добавили, и мне интересно на это посмотреть. Если вы не играли до этого, то добро пожаловать. Сейчас вместе посмотрим. Во. Так, русский, погнали. Ну, честно, было дело, да. Компьютер едва виден. Хоррор, что ли, собираетесь делать? Ну, вот едва виден для меня это вот так. Вот, чтобы это компьютер было, вот так вот. Продолжить. Текущее время, а я знаю. Давайте вот. Это... Так не АМ у меня ПМ уже. Все. Как бы. Во. 1 ПМ и. В обратную. Да. И вот так. Внимание, специальные настройки можно выбрать в главном меню. Окей. Собственно, сразу же рекурсия. Мы сидим за компьютером и играем в игру, сидя за компьютером, играя в игру, сидя за компьютером, играя в игру, сидя за компьютером. И так далее, короче. По настройкам чего? Поле зрения. Ну, это в игре уже, наверное. По видео. Без рамки. На-на-на. Я надеюсь, по звуку слышно нормально. То есть... Шибко громко быть не должно. Вот. Но давай сейчас проверим. Хоба! Вот так вот вздрогнули и продолжаем. По звуку вроде нормально. Начинаем игру.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Чем мне нравилась эта игра в свое время, собственно, что я хотел сказать, что это, по сути, сатира на офисную жизнь. То есть очень много людей в офисах просто сидят за компьютером, по инструкции начальника нажимают на кнопки, вот, и игра, по сути, Чего? Я на правую кнопку мыши бегу вперед. Ага, а на левую я типа по клавиатуре жмакаю. Хорошо. И на Е тоже. Садиться могу. Спринтовать не могу. Кстати, сразу быстрая концовка для тех, кто не знал.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility?
Все, не
He
открывается.
had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed. Then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Да, и как только ты доходишь до определенной концовки, игра откатывается назад до момента, когда ты выходишь из комнаты.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Давайте, пойдемте. Компьютеры что-то какие-то включены, какие-то нет. Опа. Awaiting input. Давайте, что-то я сделал.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Хватит за мной двери закрывать. Алло. Так, ну вот. Пошел я влево, да.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Что-то какие-то записи. Тут по-любому что-нибудь странное написано. Но это нужно вникать, а мне немного лень. Достаньте Криза из кладовки, где хранятся швабры. Короче, ладно. Тут много надписей, это надолго. Наверное, не будем на этом всем останавливаться.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
А я не пойду.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
А что, если еще постоять? Точно ничего взять нельзя?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Ну, постоим. Он что-нибудь скажет? Еще.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Да.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Да, просто жду, пока у тебя реплики кончатся, чё?
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
Да.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me, because literally, this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Дело в том, что делать что-то или не делать — это тоже выбор, кстати говоря.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Охуел. Рассказчик, блядь.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Хорошо. Сейчас будет еще что-то, нет? Или все? Все. Да? Все. Все. Видимо, все, да. Ладно, погнали дальше.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Слышь, ты.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
А я не хочу к начальнику, я, может, хочу перерывом воспользоваться и... Здравствуйте. Или что такое? Она достаточно хорошо пропечатана, чтобы можно было прочитать, но ее подобрать нельзя. То есть это записка какая-то. О, гараж.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream.
Возможно.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Может, на бумажку записывать концовки для интереса? То есть сейчас...
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Забавно.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella
woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Не, забавно, что в этой игре просто закадровый голос сам тебе вот так вот меняет сюжет, а ты просто хотел посмотреть, что внизу на лестнице. Вот.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Да, вероятно. Опа, еще. Что будет, если собрать все?
When Stanley came to a set of two
Так,
open
влево я
doors,
ходил,
he
давай
entered the
вправо.
door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Не-не-не, я не буду тебя слышать.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Даже газировки не дадите. Ну ладно, я пошел дальше тогда.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Нет.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Не хочу.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy.
Куда ты
really,
меня
I'm
повез?
not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Давай, попробуем.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Не-а.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Да.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
А я не хочу.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Интересно. Что это за дверь такая? А, явно не отсюда. Уже текстурки типа пропали. Давай.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Давай единичку.
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Чё? Статистика, да. И я типа. Спасибо. Но я не 7 часов играл. Это вранье. Это наглая ложь.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Я просто буду отвечать низкие рейтинги. Мне
Hey, I nearly
интересно.
forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Давай.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
Честно говоря, не хочется мне 4 часа вот в это играть. Еще и с противными звуками. Это мог бы быть бит для какого-нибудь трека, я не знаю. Ладно, хватит херней заниматься. 4 часа я сидеть сейчас не буду.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Конечно.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
Это они тему хейтеров поднимают
Yes,
таким образом,
this
или
seems
что?
like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Не знаю. Но
Well,
выглядит
it seems
красивенько.
obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Давай. По-моему, в прошлый раз, когда я играл в игру, на этом месте был Майнкрафт. Просто калька с Майнкрафта. Кубическая хрень всякая. Don't tread on me. Ладно. А чё? Спуск? Понял. Не пустит. Пойдем. Мне вот интересно, это реально какую-то игру они спародировали, или это что-то новенькое свое?
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Чего?
It is. It's an open world game. Good
Да.
God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley.
Слышь.
Close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Я не согласен.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Делать-то мне чего в одиночку тут?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Ебать! А, это Rocket League было, понятно.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought, and I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball.
Ебать!
Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls!
Блять. А нахуй мне больше-то? Пинать-то я один только могу.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I am structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much, but who knows? You're an inventive kid, you'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Хе-хе. Хе-хе. Кавабанга!
Hold on. What are you doing?
О!
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Хоба. Какие-то задрипанные двери. Куда ни иди, да? Никуда не придешь. Давайте побродим. Угу. Свет в конце тоннеля. Ничего не потыркать.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Свет мне дайте, пожалуйста. Хорошо. Идем дальше.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Да, возможно. Та-та-та-та-та-та-та-та-та. Интересно.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Да. Тут я не был. Куда ты меня увез?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Что за музей?
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Сейчас так бац, и просто дополнительная концовка.
Nothing special yet, but I'm
Ну
sure
да,
it's just the
текстурки
beginning
новые.
of a mesmerizing adventure.
А можно меня поднимать как-то?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Да-да-да, давайте. Но они пока что делают вот такое вот интригу какую-то. Они растягивают, растягивают.
Initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. Let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ага. Давайте израсходуем. Если долго-долго-долго. И чё? Еще? Алло, ты. Все, даже не скажешь ничего.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Дайте прыгать здесь-то. Ладно. Пойти хоть в лифте.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Текс.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Давай.
What do you say, friend?
Давай посмотрим. Что-то изменилось. Ненавижу понедельники, надпись на кружке. Да, было вот так. Ну, кстати, прикольно, что они сделали. Типа, ты выходишь такой, бля, ведь что-то поменялось. Такой подходишь, а, да, это вот так вот до этого выглядело. Прикольно, мне нравится. Двери, как обычно, не открываются.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
А если я не пойду? А, тут привычное, типа, давай. Новый контент, так сказать. Кофенат. Погнали. Оба. И куда меня сейчас?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Почему у меня ощущение, что это Dark Souls или Elden Ring, и на меня сейчас вылезет какая-нибудь хуйня? Я думаю, что на этом мы на сегодня закончим. Час с половиной, хрена себе. Да, на этом мы сегодня закончим. Выложу так, как есть, потому что там разделить на части, ну, проблематично, наверное, будет. Ну, посмотрим. Ссылку на плейлист с прохождением я оставлю в описании под видео. Подписывайтесь на канал, комментируйте, жмакайте там, что жмакается под видео. Ну, а всем до встречи в следующей серии. Всем удачи, всем пока.